And if at any time you are uncomfortable with anything of my views and so on, you're free to leave me and find guidance elsewhere. But the one thing you should not do shamelessly so is to try to silence me. There are many good things that the Ottoman Empire did, and I have made mention of it in the past. But my critics have forgotten that, are not unwilling to accept that I praise the Ottoman Empire for what they did in the past, which was good. So let me repeat it again. What can I do? Yeah. What can I do?
If you will,
what can I do? I have to keep on repeating and repeating for these schoolboys. The modern Western world says you can come and live amongst us, but you must live the way we live. This is the way we live, you must live like this. This is the way we dress, you must dress our way. This is the language we speak, you must speak our language. And your names must become like our names. Give up your strange names. In other words, you have to become assimilated into our society. It's one melting pot over here. And everybody melts into this one melting pot. This is modern Western civilization. To its credit, the Ottoman Empire never went down that wicked and evil road. The Ottoman Empire recognized the integrity of every community. The Armenians are allowed to live in Constantinople in an Armenian quarter. You can speak your Armenian language, you can dress your Armenian way, you can eat your Armenian food, you can live the way. You also have an administration that will conduct law and order accordance with your penal code. The Greek Orthodox similarly can live in accordance with your way, your culture, your language. We're making no effort to force you to live our way. The Jews are allowed to live their way. Okay? The Sicilians are allowed to live their way. Every community is living in Constantinople and around Constantinople with freedom to maintain their indigenous identity and their way of life. This is to the credit of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire had a market, which was perhaps the last free and fair market in the world before modern Western civilization corrupted and destroyed the free and the fair market. The Ottoman Empire had police in the market to ensure that the coins that were used were not bogus money. And there were magistrates in the market that if they caught anyone breaking the law in the market, they would take him straight to the magistrate, the trial will take place and the punishment will be delivered right there. This is the last time that mankind ever saw a free and a fair market on the face of the earth, the Ottoman market. So give credit to the Ottoman Empire where credit is due. And I have done it so many times in the past. But
people focus on what they want to focus on. The
Empire must also be told that you have violated the law of the Quran. I have written a book entitled Constantinople in the Quran. I don't know, perhaps it's the first time a book has been written on this subject. Constantinople in the Quran. And it's been translated to Greek, it's been translated to French. I don't know, we don't yet have it in Turkish. But in that book, I have argued and I've shown conclusively where the Ottoman Empire acted in a manner contrary to the Quran, violated the Quran. And it appears to me that their goal was to sabotage because of the endless hatred that they produced for Islam amongst the Orthodox Christians, wherever the Ottomans went. Endless hatred for Islam. Their goal was to sabotage any possibility of an end-time friendship and alliance between the world of Orthodox Christianity and the world of Islam. If we had not intervened with our Islamic eschatology, the Ottomans would have been still successful to this day. Turkey, of course, cannot change. Pakistan changed, I was there. And nearly all Pakistanis who listened to me all agreed that Hagia Sophia belongs to the Orthodox Christians. We should never have made it a mistake. Every Pakistani I met changed his view and accepted the Quran.
Logic.
I don't think Turkey will ever change their view, or the Balkans. So I'm not going to waste my time trying to change their views. But the Ottoman Empire was misguided in its endless bogus jihad on the Orthodox Christians, in the oppression of the Orthodox Christians, and in the laws which they impose for truce, that you have to give us some of your boys, Christian boys, to choose the healthiest, the brightest. They will convert these boys to Islam by force, and that was shameful. That was disgraceful. That was sinful, to the eternal disgrace of this Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, that Christian boys were converted to Islam by force. We will have to apologize to them for that one day. And these boys were then trained and educated with the best education of all. And they become the Janissaries, the personal army of the elite army of the Ottoman Empire. They took the Christian women and made them slaves. But Allah does not permit that. Slavery is permitted only when the enemy is enslaving their prisoners of war. Then you are allowed to reciprocate. Slavery is permitted only when the enemy is enslaving their prisoners of war. Then you are allowed to reciprocate. But when the enemy is no longer enslaving their prisoners of war, you do not have any legal right to enslave their women and fill your harem shamelessly with hundreds of Christian women, and you cohabit only with them. You never marry as an Ottoman Sultan. And the children that come from them, one of them will become the next Sultan. So when the Ottoman Empire attacks a Christian people, the Sultan is the son of a Christian woman. And the elite fighting force are their own sons. This is adding salt to the wound, so that there will never be any possibility of friendship and alliance between the Orthodox Christian world and the world of Islam. But I have a message to send to the president of Turkey, who probably has less than a passing acquaintance with the Quran. A man named Erdogan. Tell him for me, you could do what you want. The truth will survive. Sultan Muhammad Fatih, the answer is in my book on Constantinople in the Quran. I can't repeat all of this. That it was a bogus jihad and it was sinful, the conquest of Constantinople, and also the conversion of Hagia Sophia to a masjid was sinful, disgraceful, shameful. And I want this to be entered in my book, so on Judgment Day, I will be on this side. Let them on the other side prepare for Judgment Day. Let them prepare for Judgment. They have more knowledge than I have. When I speak of Amir Mawiyah, since he was a companion of the Prophet ﷺ, I say radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and this causes endless anger in the hearts of some people. But I am not to be programmed. I can't become your gramophone record. And if at any time you are uncomfortable with anything of my views and so on, you're free to leave me and find guidance elsewhere. But the one thing you should not do shamelessly so is to try to silence me. Why are you afraid so silent? You want to shut the doors on the masjid of me? That's shameful. People are not going to respect you for that. If you stand up and you give me the freedom to speak, and then you speak in a polite way, and let the people decide, that's a better way. But when you call me all kinds of names, all kinds of names, they call me and shut the doors of the masjid on me, and from the time any masjid declares I'm going to give a lecture, they all get to work from all over Britain to contact this masjid. No, cancel. Ah, yes, wait for Judgment Day. So I have respect for Amir Muawiyah because he's a companion of the Prophet. But companions of the Prophet can make mistakes. Even Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu made a mistake. He went upon the mimbar. He gave the khutbah. He said the mahar is too big, too high. Now we cap it at so many dirhams. A woman stood up and said, no, Omar, you're wrong. You can't do that. Oh, I thought Omar had said women are not allowed in the masjid. So what was she doing in the masjid? Huh? Maybe something is wrong with that Islam out there. And we have the right Islam now where we ban the woman from the masjid. Oh, wait for the Imam to come. Imam al-Mahdi, you see what you see on Judgment Day. And when the Imam comes, you see what he do with you. Huh? Banning the woman from coming to the masjid. I wait for that day. And the woman could stand up and she could see Omar, and he could see her. So there's no partition, no barrier, no parda, no this, no that, the other. But you put the woman in an attic, you put them in the basement, you put them in an annex, you put them anywhere, but they're not in the same space with the men. But she was in the same space with the men. Now this is the Islam. Tell Afghanistan that for me. So no man would dare to do what this woman did. Because this is Umar. But she stood up and she said, no, Umar, you're wrong, you can't do it. So he turned around and he said, why not? He didn't say, woman, what are you doing here? Then she quoted the verse of the Quran, but if you give a woman a mare, and even if it's a kintar, don't take it back. Kintar is far, far, far more than what he is. Umar then went back on the member. He said, people, I gave that order, I will cancel it. So even companions of the Prophet can make mistakes. This is Umar radiallahu ta'ala, and this is a mistake that he made. Don't tell me a companion can't make a mistake. Ah, yes. So people have lost the capacity to think.
So do you believe that the Christians...
Yeah.
Okay, so
now, for me, since our Prophet has said that the conquest of Constantinople will come after the Great War, I cannot conceive that companions of the Prophet ﷺ will misjudge that hadith and embark upon the effort to conquer Constantinople at this time, when they are told that a Muslim army will conquer Constantinople after the Great War. So this remains a matter with a big, big, big question mark behind it for me. Why and how do these companions of the Prophet, if this history is correct, why and how have they disregarded the prophecy that the conquest of Constantinople is not going to take place now? It will take place at that time, after the Great War, and the Great War didn't take place yet. That's why I put a question mark. Yes.
Yeah, that should stop all of.
But let me also say that even companions of the Prophet can make mistakes.
Mhm. So, do you believe that the Christians who fought in this battle in 1453 were martyrs?
Without any question of a doubt. If I have to lose all the people who listen to me, you can leave me. And leave me all alone. Let me say it plain and clear without any ambiguity whatsoever. I don't care about the consequences. I want it to be plainly said that the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople was a bogus jihad. You don't like that statement? Go your way. Leave me alone. I'm prepared to stand with that. A bogus jihad. So those who die in a bogus jihad as attacking force will enter into Jahannam or Jahannam. Huh? Those who stood to fight a bogus jihad, they are on the side of truth. Those who are fighting a bogus jihad on the side of falsehood. But you will never accept that the army of Sultan Muhammad Fatih, the 200,000 men who surrounded Constantinople, was a bogus jihad. You'll never accept that. So go away and leave me alone. I don't care. I don't care two peanuts for all those who want to support and confirm that this Sultan is the man that Allah's messenger praised. وَلَنِعْمَ الْأَمِيرُ أَمِيرُهَا وَلَنِعْمَ الْجَيْشُ ذَلِكَ. This is Sultan Muhammad Fatih. Go your way with your nonsense. I am saying to you, the conquest of Constantinople, prophesied by the prophet, has not as yet taken. It's coming in the future. And when it comes, we'll fight you. We will fight you. And we will defeat you. And when we defeat you, whether you like it or not, we'll defeat you. When we defeat you, we will return Hagia Sophia. And every Greek Orthodox Christian is listening to this today. And they will know this is the voice of Imran speaking. And my students will speak the same fearless way, that those Orthodox Christian brothers will know firmly that there is a voice in the world of Islam which has the credibility, the integrity to declare that those who fell on that day in 1453, defending Constantinople from those who were fighting a bogus jihad, these are the martyrs. On Judgment Day, when they have to stand before Allah for judgment, that army which was defending itself and saying, we want peace. And Allah says, if they're inclined to peace, you must reciprocate. And this army, 10 times or more in size, and say, no, 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 we don't want peace, we want war. And then this army conquers the city and takes Hagia Sophia and transforms it to a masjid, shamefully, disgracefully, manifestly, sinfully. On Judgment Day, there'll be surprises for those two armies. I stand with those who stood up against injustice and oppression. They're the ones who are martyrs. You don't like that? Go your way and leave me alone. Yes, Nabi Isa alayhi salam used thunderous language against the same people who in his age were saying only Allah knows the future. You cannot anticipate the future. So he asked, he thundered at them, don't you look up at the sky and say it's going to rain today? Don't you look up at the sky and say it's going to rain today? You read the sky and you interpret it that rain is going to come. That's the same thing we have today. There is this methodology that only Allah knows the future. And yet these same people who look up at the sky and say rain is going to come today. My advice to those who view this video is to forget these schoolboys. That there are signs of Allah unfolding in the world today. They will remain where they are forever. They will never change. So leave them. Leave them. The Arab proverb is, and I'm not calling them dogs. I'm not saying that they are dogs, no. The Arab proverb is that the dogs will keep on barking, but the caravan moves on. This caravan must move on. So I urge you to open your eyes externally and internally and observe the signs of Allah unfolding in the world today. This is one of them. So that you may be able to understand the movement of history and you'll be able to take appropriate steps to protect yourselves and your family. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.